in students versus just a year over year, how are your second graders doing? So maybe taking a more individualized look at growth of individual students would be something I would be interested in seeing considered.
An online student, Christina Gonzalez, she asks, on the topic of law enforcement, you state that our officers and first responders must have the resources and training tools they need. So what state grants are available for this topic, and which of those grants will you push to get the funding for these workers?
So there are state grants related to different tools and opportunities for, the word I'm looking for, tools I guess is the best word, but I think when we're looking at law enforcement from a state level, what we're trying to do is make sure that our local law enforcement, who are typically funded by more local dollars, can have the backfill things that they need to be able to do the boots on the ground things. I can't think of anything specifically that our Springfield Police Department has specifically asked me for, but certainly if there was something that they came and said, this is an important piece for us that we're really missing to be able to do our jobs well, it would be something I would highly consider. I think having enough law enforcement to have people in our communities patrolling is really important, and I know we're still low on those numbers. Some of that is workforce that we hear in every setting. It's challenging to find enough workforce, but some of that is just doing a good job of encouraging young people to consider law enforcement as a career.
Last question from me, and then we'll just see if we have any more questions before we wrap. And thank you so much for taking an hour to chat with us.
Yeah.
Alicia Canella asks, according to the Missouri Republican Party platform website, it's mentioned, we believe government governs best when it governs least, but also wants to regain control of both houses of Congress. Is the government, okay, I'm going to read it in her voice, is the government not governing only best when your party is in power? How will you restore the government's proper place when your party doesn't want the government to have too much control?
So I think when you look at the Republican Party, as I mentioned already, and kind of why I choose to be a Republican, if we are not the ones making some of those decisions, then the party that believes government should be in control of more would contribute their ideas and their policies into that more. That's not to say that I don't work across the aisle and talk with Democrats about certain policies, and as I mentioned, there are things that the government is responsible for and they have to be involved in, but I think making sure that limited government is the mindset and not growth of government is where that kind of question leads me.
Sounds good. Any parting thoughts, parting questions for a representative?
Yes.
What is your stance on biological males to transition to females? Do you feel that there is a competitive advantage in female sports?
Yeah, I don't think that biological males should be playing in female sports. I think we've seen the dangers of that, and I do think that there are biological advantages. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm from California, so I don't know if things are different here in Missouri, but out there, gambling is like mainly, it's like set aside for the Indians.
Oh, sure.
So I don't know like if that's taken in, are you guys considering that aspect when you guys are thinking about making it legal to gamble?
No, and there is another amendment on the ballot that has to do with a casino going in at Lake of the Ozarks, but it's not an Indian program necessarily. So no, that's not a part of the amendments that we're looking at this year.
Do you have a dog in that fight on the amendment on the gambling boat? You said it was Lake of the Ozarks?
Yeah, Lake of the Ozarks. I don't. No.
Any more parting thoughts? Okay.
Thank
Round of
you all.
applause. Thank you so much for visiting with
Yes.
us. Before we let you go,
Yes.
if I'm an enterprising constituent and I want to reach out, what's
Yes.
the best way to to reach out to?
I'm on social media, pretty easy to find, M. Stinnett, SWMO, or Melanie Stinnett, SWMO. My website's melaniestinnett.com. And yeah, happy to communicate with you any way you would like to reach out.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
have a
you.
great day.
All right. So with that in mind, guys,